Hello friends, I am Major Avinash Mullick, a soldier by training and belief, and a real estate and facilities management leader by profession. At the outset, it's a big thank you to you Nilesh and FMJPI for this opportunity and platform. FMJPI is one of the largest and biggest network dedicated only to facility management industry. Mr. Nilesh Barot had initiated it in 2015 only with this particular vision. Today, FMJPI represents the entire facility management industry and is supporting industries and people across India for end-to-end solutions to any kind of requirements related to the FM industry. Since the inception, FMJPI's role is to connect the missing dots of the FM industry, and in 5 years, they have achieved this goal very, very successfully. In the spirit of the process of this particular presentation or this webinar, I should have perhaps prepared a PPT or a presentation of sorts. However, in my own minimal tech check, I realized it wasn't a great idea. So here I am in front of you. Let's begin. I'm going to talk about the facility management teams, the forgotten frontline heroes. So we live in uncertain times. What do? We embrace the glorious mess that we are in, and we start thinking beyond and over in the most basic manner. Friends, at the outset, let me clarify that as a term of reference and for ease of understanding and conversation, I'll be using the words housekeeping boy and janitor. This actually represents the entire brave and committed fraternity of those brave housekeeping women and men alike. For there is no gender bias when I speak about these brave hearts, both men and women. For most of my audience, the housekeeping boy is the one who often comes in roles of some big housekeeping agencies and is found cleaning the swanky offices of Cyber City Gurgaon and its counterparts nationally. However, they are also found in hospitals. Hospitals, big, small, private, government. On railway stations and bus depots. On airports and ports. In residential and housing societies and malls. They're everywhere, keeping the cleanliness and hygiene flag flying high in areas of critical necessity to zones of opulent luxury. Working tirelessly to give us an environment of health and hygiene. A sneak peek into their ugly underbelly. Yes, they do have one. Abject poverty of the workforce, exploitation on salary, compliances, safety and working hours, no formal training, no skill upgrades, no medical cover, delayed salary payments. The list is endless. The stress is unbearable. Yet they report to work day after day, diligently, committed, sincere. While we have rightly acknowledged the committed services of the doctors, the nursing staffs in hospital, did we give the same acknowledgement to the cleaning staff, who even clear your medical and surgical waste, who keep those infection-filled corridors clean, keep those small and overused toilets of those hospitals and nursing homes clean and usable? Those bus depots and railway stations where we complain about the leaky taps and broken lights, those places too are kept passenger worthy by the silent workforce. As schools, colleges and other educational institutions gear up to open, it's this silent workforce of janitors who will ensure that the sanitization and safe environment is actually ready for those lovely children and teachers. Any thoughts about the safety and well-being of these cleaning staff? Friends, let's admit it. We are all scared. We fear this pandemic. Fear is good. Yes, it is. Because absolute fear at times overrides logic. And let us, as facility management leaders and leaders in our respective spheres, use this overriding of logic or this deviation from logic for these brave men and women who go beyond the laws of compliances, and let's help them. Before I go further, I'd like to share a few incidents. The first one being from my own Gurgaon office. This one is from my security team, and I would like to call out, yes, I would like to call out two of my primary security guards, first one being Lavkush and the other one being Rahul Mishra. During the lockdown period, these two security guards, Lavkush and Rahul, they've played a very important role in our business continuity plan. They've supported us by going out of their way. In addition to their regular duties, in fact, they were just security guards manning the office 24/7. They have supported us in various tasks which were not a part of their KRAs. In May, June and July months, remember those months when we were all scared? We were not stepping out. We were afraid. They have personally gone to the employees' homes of our office in NCR through private cabs for safe delivery of IT assets to enable employees working from home. They have ensured each asset detail was properly documented in the gate passes to avoid any confusion or wrong delivery. They have helped the IT teams remotely in re-imaging of laptops, desktops and system formatting. I will read this again. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this again. They have helped IT teams remotely in re-imaging of laptops, desktops and system formatting. So here is an example that they have the capability to learn and deliver so much more than they actually do. They have also helped in getting important business documents signed from leadership teams from their homes on their personal conveyance and process the documents for further timely action. These were legal documents. They have performed multiple tasks and helped various departments, be it IT, HR, business, administration, supported various teams through phone and video calls in performing their duties to ensure business continuity. All this was new for them, but they quickly adapted themselves according to the need of the hour. In performing many of these tasks, where they had to travel to Noida, Delhi, other NCR locations from the Gurgaon office, they have risked their lives and their families' lives from the COVID-19 scare. They have disregarded their personal safety, as we know how challenging it was just to step out of our houses. And here they were going across borders to support business. Permit me to call out one housekeeping boy of my office. He's an Odia boy. His name is Neela Akash. Now his support to us in these unprecedented times is exemplary. During the lockdown period, when everybody's movement was restricted and only critical services were allowed, this boy was regular on his duties to ensure office assets were well maintained and were safe to use. He was sanitizing the office every day. Now, what makes it special? It was not an easy task to reach the office because there was no public transport available. In addition to that, there were instances where they faced the summer heat and lathis of the police personnel. Yes, it was the police who were trying to curb the movements, and they were actually using lathis to beat up people to go back homes. This boy had a little challenge, but he made sure that he came to office every day. He was making sure that he walked 4 to 5 kilometers every day to reach office because there was no public transport. He was running the risk. His family was running the risk of getting the COVID transmission, but no. He was there for us. He was there making sure that the office was clean, sanitized, even on a daily basis, despite the fact that he knew that nobody was coming to the office in the near future. It was his commitment to duty, and I personally salute my own lad for this particular service. Here's another incident which is very, very inspiring. This was shared to me by my dear friend and a fellow FM professional, Colonel Sharad Bhargav of Alight, which is now Wipro. This is the story of Santosh. Now, during this early days of lockdown in Mumbai city with no transport services and nothing but essential services allowed, this boy, Santosh, was reaching out to provide required support in the office at least one day in a week. The housekeeping boy had to walk down 7 to 8 kilometers one way to reach the office. I repeat, the boy had to walk 7 to 8 kilometers one way to reach the office. After reaching the office, he would clean his hands, change his clothes, and then work to sanitize common touch points, cleaning, mopping, the reception, the washrooms, the pantry, replenish water jars, water the plants, clear waste garbage, replenish sanitizers, hand washes, toilet rolls, so that the security guards on duty had the requisite facilities available. The incident that I'm going to talk about now is perhaps more than special, or in fact, this one requires a true brave heart. This is the story of a lady, and this comes from another friend who works in a hospital. This house lady, whose name has been held back at her request, is working in a hospital. We all know the situation in hospitals in the past 7 months. In the early days of April, May and June, she would walk 5 kilometers one way to the hospital because there was no public transport available. The hospital even offered her a room to stay so that her availability would be constant and she wouldn't have to travel every day. But she refused. She said she couldn't take up the offer of staying in the hospital in the room. She would rather walk. And by declining this offer did not mean that she took a day off. She was there for work every day. On being asked later what was the reason that she had declined the offer and why she was willing to take additional risks, she said that she had a grown-up daughter at home and her husband was an alcoholic. Add to that, her house was in an unsafe neighborhood. Thus, she needed to be back home every evening. How do we look at this from a level of commitment? I would look at it in absolute awe, utmost respect, and sheer gratitude. All we can say is thank you. Going further, there's more to it. Now that we've discussed these cases, we are talking about mental health, and we're talking about all the psychosocial issues. I'd like to go through some of the psychosocial issues which have actually cropped up and are really affecting this workforce. Prolonged working hours leading to fatigue, diminished performance, carelessness, poor concentration, and impaired decision making. While I just spoke about the superheroes of the industry a while ago, there are thousands of them who are suffering from these problems. Why? Reasons I just said. Churning out products with less time or emphasis on quality check assurances. Yes, it is by products I mean that the services that they are providing, they could be declining in certain offices because they are overburdened with work. Fear of infection and transmission. These people are at an increased risk of interaction with potentially infected people, at times compromising their social distance and safety. This increases the fear of getting infected and apprehensions about being a source of transmission. This takes a toll on their mental health. Anxiety and concern about the safety of their family members. Due to the very nature of their duty, there are increased chances of not getting enough time to look after their own health or their family and of bringing home infection. This leads to a lot of anxiety and fear. Psychosocial risks and work-related stress are associated with unhealthy behaviors, including heavy alcohol consumption, increased cigarette smoking, poor eating habits, less frequent physical exercise, and irregular sleep patterns. And this, though found mostly in men, affects and impacts the entire family. All these behaviors may affect both physical and mental health and have negative impact on job performance. Lockdown and physical distancing, school closures, quarantines, working from home, all these bring profound changes to normal routines of people of all ages from all walks of life with negative effects on sleep and rest. So while the FM team might be going to work, their families are suffering and it is impacting the man on the job himself. Fear and uncertainty about employment. How many of us have laid off so many people in our FM teams because there was a downsizing? We've been responsible for it. There's a business justification to it, but we've done it. Imagine what they would be going through. I'd like to talk about it at a later point. Loss of livelihood and sustenance in daily wages and casual workers leading to consequent anxiety. A lot of these housekeeping staff, who we call the facility management staff, work on different kind of sites, whether construction sites, whether they are housing societies, where they are on a daily wage, where they are casual workers, and a lot of them are losing their jobs. Anxiety about continuity of payment, full payment while working from home, considering that these people are also at times not coming in daily in many offices. They are also getting reduced payments. Sense of despair and lack of control over the situation. Social isolation by itself is known to cause anxiety, depression, and even cognitive disturbances. Imagine how socially isolated these people must be feeling. Excessive free time and increased vulnerability to rumors in social media leading to escalation of anxiety and uncertainty. They too are victims. They have a certain amount of extra time at hand now. They're sitting at home. Social media is beaming a lot of unwanted stuff on their phones too, which is leading to a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. What can we do? Perhaps if I was to talk about just some measures that we can talk about is they need to be made aware of the safety measures. We need to make sure that they are connected, talking to them, encourage them to stay connected to their friends and family. We can perhaps share some techniques to help them stay calm, focusing on helping them in building a sense of control. We need to celebrate their success. We need to talk amongst ourselves in the fraternity as to who our superheroes are. And we need to tell them that they are our superheroes on a daily basis. So, I'll now go into a little more detail as to what we can do. First and foremost, friends, let's begin by acknowledging them. Let's make them famous. Let them be heroes of our organizations and beyond. Let us all share their stories. Let them know we value their commitment by acknowledging it. As I speak to you today, my FM team knows that they have been acknowledged. And I thank them for being worthy of this acknowledgement. Retrenchment, I spoke about it. Retrenchment is rampant. And the first to go is the housekeeping workforce. This is something we all FM professionals are driving, and it has a justification to it. That being said, let's focus on the 50% retrenched workforce and not the 50% which is still in office. How many of us have even bothered to check where these retrenched personnel have gone? Have they managed jobs? How are they managing their households? It's time. it's time for us to reach out to help them get jobs somewhere. This way we will help them without injuring their pride. Lesser salary perhaps, another location perhaps, another industry perhaps, but better than nothing. For the retrenched staff, let's get them enrolled in government-sponsored skill training programs. Let them acquire new skills. And that will open new avenues for them. Or reach out to various skill-based institutions and sponsor a course for them. Each person retrenched should be given a thumping letter of appreciation. I wonder if we are really doing it. Not only does it reflect gratitude and acknowledgement of his or her hard work, it might even help with the next employer. So many times our household maids, who either are back in the houses or are still waiting, have reached out to us asking for an advance for they need to buy a smartphone for their children, as all education is happening online. Ever thought about smartphones for the children of these FMTs, especially the ones who are retrenched? Why cannot organizations give them interest-free loans to buy smartphones for their children? And those of us who can afford might consider gifting them our old used smartphones, tablets. I just did. On some point, let our organizations tie up with teachers to take special classes for these children. A lot of buzz in the elite circles on how online education demands involvement of parents to teach their children. And here we have children whose parents are perhaps not even equipped to teach them. Let's support them. And why can't all of us be volunteers in this cause, perhaps? Let our organizations and us personally support their grown-up children who are in senior classes or just out of school preparing for competitive exams. Let's get professional classes to them for free. Let's remember, never will a man be more committed to his work if his children's future is at rest. We are seeing mental health being discussed like never before. And all this for all of us working from the safety of our homes. What about the man who lives in a one room with his family? Every morning he or she risks his or her life and subsequently his families to go to work in these times of pandemic. Ever imagine the stress they are under? Let's speak to them regularly and arrange counseling sessions for them from specialists. Friends, these unsung, lonesome warriors fight a battle which demands huge strength and tenacity. Let's share a bit of our strength and resources with them. Let this be our small offering to their services. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll be happy to answer any questions in case there be. In case someone wants, they can reach out to me and they can share their questions or challenges or any particular special activity that they have done, and I'll be happy to share it with the group so that we can all benefit from it. Never know who's doing what, but let best practices be shared. So with this, I end my presentation. I thank you all once again, and once again request you that these are our unsung heroes. Let's stand by them. Let's make them famous. Let's support them. Thank you.